Is day trading for you? I think one of the things, there's several aspects of this that you need to be aware of if you are going to day trade. So I'm just sorting my charts out here. If you're going to day trade, you're going to have a very specific set of rules in which to engage this market, because it's particularly if you are trading very volatile markets like the Dow and oil. If you're trading forex markets, currency markets, then they are not quite so volatile, but there again they don't give you very particularly good runs at times unless you use a lot of leverage. So the markets that I trade is Dow and oil mainly, and DAX in the morning. And in order to be consistent in these markets, you've got to really know the characteristics of the market for a start. All these different markets have different data ranges. They have data at different times of the day. They have different reversal times. So these are all elements that you need to be aware of and need to build in to factor in when you decide to day trade. So if day trading is for you, you have to have at least a good 2 hours a day to devote to it. You've got to have at least an hour to prepare for it, and you've got to have at least, then there is going to be at least a good hour where there is peak volume in the market and volatility is adequate, and therefore the more volatility, the more technical the chart. That's one of the reasons why I like the Dow and the oil, because they are such huge markets. They are very technical markets. Now, the biggest markets are, of course, the currency markets. These are markets that big corporates are using to hedge funds and contracts for their clients who are trading across borders. So they're not. That's quite different from the stock market, which is quite different from oil and the indices. So in order to, if day trading is for you, you A, need to have the time, B, you need to have the technical qualifications, if you like. You need to be very good at finding support and resistance and trend lines, and understanding, I was going to say patterns. It's not about, I don't trade patterns as such. What I do trade is a specific setup, a specific criteria that I need to happen at the open. So what I've got up here at the moment is gold. Now gold is, of all the day trading markets, this is probably the lightest traded, the least volume in it. So therefore, with something, if I was going to trade something like gold, I would trade it on a larger time frame. Otherwise, you're just going to get, this is not the kind of market that you can trade in 15-minute charts. Or 15-minute charts, yes, not 5-minute charts, I don't believe. Because the moves are more measured and not as volatile. So that's good from the point of view that you've got a bit more time to think about this and plan for it. I was going to say not so good, but it's, if you're looking to make a daily income out of this, unless you use a lot of leverage, that's much harder on something like gold. Yeah, by all means, I'll ask any questions as we go along, and I'll answer them either as I go along or I'll come back to them. I have different rules for different markets. I've been day trading for a long time. I've been day trading since 2004, 2005. I learned to day trade in actually grains and oil primarily, and then I traded Forex for quite a few years, and now it's predominantly the indices. So I have different rules for different day trading markets. This particular market here is, as I said, is gold. So I would have different ways of treating gold. Now, for a start, the first thing I would do is just put, this is a 1 hour chart, and I would put the high and the low on the previous week's price. So last week, gold was down at $1,410, and it had a high of $1,434. And you can see so far we didn't, the low this week we didn't touch, we didn't come down to the previous week's low, but the high this week has tested that about 4 hours ago. Okay, so this would have been a good intra-week trade. But can you just bear with me 1 minute? I'm just going to make a slight change. I'll answer that question. Yeah, algorithms are, they're a key part of every single market now. As a day trader, as a retail trader, you are trading up against professional algorithms. There's not hundreds of thousands of millions of traders sitting at screens. As most of you know or aware of, we're trading against algorithms. That's good in some aspects, from the point of view that the markets in theory should be even more technical. But okay, so what are the rules for this particular market? So the rules for this particular market, because it's much slower, I would mark off the previous week's high and the low. I would look, I think, to me, what happens on Monday, on the first day of the week, first day of trading, generally has a big impact on the rest of the week. So for example, this market was relatively bullish for most of that week, except it had into Thursday it sold off, but that sold off to a major support level, so that started another wave to the upside. So by the time we came into this part of, on Monday of this week, that dip was bought. So I'll just enlarge this so you can see this nice and clearly. So on this particular market, being thin, I would look to see what happened on the Monday. One thing you could do is just range that off. That was the main price action for Monday, going into over Monday night. So what happens the next day, on Tuesday, you get a pullback overnight into 1422. So if this is a major box of, this was resistance on Monday, it's now support for Tuesday because we had an overnight move. So that is a good place to potentially buy 1422, and your target could be 1433 because that's the previous week's high. And overall, this market has been, or is still, extremely bullish. So this suits a lot of people where maybe you haven't got a lot of time, you don't want to spend hours at your screens, which is a good thing. It's not productive to spend hours and hours at screens. You'll just get you just end up chart gazing. So this is a good one if you want to intra-week trade and get good moves without having to sit at your screens for 2-3 hours a day. Faster markets is the Dow. You can see on this hourly chart on the Dow. I'll go over the rules that I trade in a minute, but let's just look at the general sort of picture at the moment. This pink line here is the Friday close, the electronic close late at night, not the cash close of the market, that's a distinct difference. So this is the electronic close. So in other words, the futures on a Friday close at an hour after the cash market. That's why there's a difference. So here's the cash market close on Friday. That's the cash market close on Friday. And this is the main electronic market close on Friday. So there's a slight difference. And you can quickly tell that once we had this dip on Tuesday, we spent the rest of the day just pushing up. Now we've got Fed decision in 48 minutes, Fed rates in 48 minutes. So this market is stuck in a range today at the moment. But if I peel that back to the cash close on Friday, you will notice that we came out of this on Monday. So we had a decent push to the upside on Monday. We dipped, but had then a buy signal at after an hour into the, or half an hour into the open. And then today, we just come right back into that area, and at the moment sitting on top of it. So that's one way, that's a good way of intra-week trading the Dow. Now for day trading, this is what my chart would look like for day trading. All I'm doing is I'm marking off the first 5 minutes of the range and looking to see where it breaks. So that's the first 5 minute bar from 2:30 to 2:35 if you're in the UK, or 9:30, 9:35 if you're in the US, or Eastern time anyway. We popped up spent 10 minutes above the range and then immediately closed back inside. So you can see all we've done is just hit a lot of resistance. Now this is typical of a Fed day. I trade very, very light on Fed days because this sort of move above and move underneath the range or even deeper is very, very typical of the range. That is not much use to you as a day trader. Unless you've got a good anchor chart system, which of course we have. Now there are reasons for buying those lows. We've just talked about them in the 60-minute chart because they came into the Friday range, and so down here on a 5-minute chart, you're able to buy into the Friday price range. But these are small moves, so there are certain days or certain times or certain price action where I wouldn't trade the markets, and this is one of them. So the reason why we mark off the first 5 minutes of the day is because what happens around here is going to have a major impact on the rest of the day. And let's face it, you know, it's what I'm looking for is the direction of the day. I'm not looking for the direction of the overall trend. As a scalper, I'm looking for the price action for the actual day, for the session, which is quite often different from can be quite different from the overall trend. So way back in the beginning, when I was taught technical trading, I was told that the hourly chart is the best. If you could only trade one chart at all, the best chart to have is just the 1 hour chart. But quite often as scalpers, we are counter trend trading to that because we're only looking for the direction of the day. So I can't draw this arrow. But quite often counter trend trading. So, but that suits us fine because we have a specific set of rules that enables us to measure what's going on in this market and pick off entries and targets based on our anchor chart. So what you're not seeing here is an anchor chart system. And that anchor chart system goes across several time frames, and if we have actual triggers in the anchor chart system, then we will trade accordingly on the range breakout, the open range breakout. So the anchor system So if we're breaking one way and the anchor system is telling us, whoa, no, that's a low probability trade, we will do one or two things. We will either reduce our targets or just simply not trade it. Better still not trade it. So the anchor system, what we call a golden anchor, which I'm not going to discuss here because that's for members, and that's what you get on the program. The golden anchor really makes the probability of our trades very much higher. I quite regularly have 3-4+ days without a stop out, and so if I do get a stop out after that sort of situation, then I would definitely stand aside and reassess what we're doing. But this is essentially what we are looking for in Scalper School, and we have an alert system as well. So the live trading room is open normally about anything from 45 to 90 minutes for each session. So it can be quite long. We'll have extensive breaks in the middle while the markets sort of wiggle around. But the live trading room operates for 6 sessions a week. So, and all we're doing, the only people allowed in the room are people who are Scalper School graduates, because we're all trading exactly the same system. That's why I don't do any free trials, or I let people have visits, because there's just no point, because we're all trading very, very specific systems, and that's so to concentrate and really extract our income from the markets. We just all work together on the same systems. So we have so this was open trading range. So we're looking for the break. We have a fade system where we're looking for retracements. If we get a retracement area, for the break we would look for 25 pips only, so quite a small, relatively small target. For the fade, I quite often recommend with traders that we actually leave it open for at least a couple of hours, potentially for the rest of the day. We had one of these setups yesterday on the DAX, and the DAX fade system generated about over 200 pips. And we also have, so this is 1, 2 system, we also have a reversal system this is an intra-week reversal, where if we've got a trending market, let me just clear this a moment. If you've got a daily chart that's really trending well, but has a key intra-week reversal point, then we have a setup that allows us to trade that, and then you've got the option of either holding that into the close or trading that into the rest, holding it into the rest of the week. Now if it's an intra-week reversal system, then 2 to 4 days is normally how we will hold it. I do take swing trades. I take many swing trades, but in these particular markets, I'm really just looking in the Dow and the oil. I'm just looking for day trades. You work 4 to 7. Well, that fits in fine, because in the Dow trading, or we trade the DAX from 8 AM to normally about 9:30, and then I recommend further trades after that you might want to trade later in the day. And in the Dow, we trade I open the room at about 2:20, normally close the room about 3:15, or longer if there's a lot more activity. And again, I would then suggest trades. And outside of these hours, we have an alert room. I'll talk about what a fade is in a minute. We have an alert room used on an app that works on desktops and mobiles and tablets. And I normally make 1 or 2 recommendations every day on how to other trades that you might want to take that are lined up with our system. A fade is jargon for a retracement. So if a market, it's just a bit of trader jargon, but it's not actually, it's something very simple. I'll just do you a quick illustration. So if you've got a market that has broken quite significantly one way or the other, or maybe it's just 25-50 pips, we will just look for where it retraces. We have a very specific entry system for retracements after the breakout, because as you know, markets don't move straight up and straight down. They like to do wave patterns, and I'm a huge Elliott Wave fan, and I use Elliott Wave for all of my trades, whether they are investments or day trades. For example, today we've had a 1, 2, 3 wave move here for 5. So that's a 5 wave Elliott Wave move, and then a 1, 2, 3 wave correction. So this is, for those of you who don't know Elliott Wave, Mr. Elliott in the 1930s studied the Dow and generated these 5 and 3 wave patterns. So the 5 wave is the move and the 3 wave is the correction. And so far, so that was the move, and then we are currently, just as we head towards Fed announcement, that's the correction. You don't need to know that in Scalper School. It's useful background information, but you don't actually need to know that, because the way in which the system works is a very, very specific set of rules that doesn't require you to understand the details of Elliott Wave. It's just useful to know the rough sort of idea behind Elliott Wave. You don't need to know all the ins and outs and the detail of it. Okay, so let's have a look at, now I'm not traded Forex, let's have a look at Forex. Is anybody in the room trading Forex at the moment? Let's have a look at the pound, and the pound's got the most activity at the moment. I've not even looked at this today, so let me just mark off the London Open. Here's the London Open. So it did break both ways today. It broke to the upside in the first hour, then it broke to the downside, came back into the range at midday, and that actually went on quite a nice run. So this is a lot of chop. On a Fed day, I would expect a lot of chop anyway. Like I said, this is, I only opened the room for about 20 minutes this afternoon. Took a couple of trades. One was a winner, one was a small stop out. We had 2 winners, so I had 4 trades today, only 1 stop out. 2 trades on the DAX, which were good winners, and 1 stop out. 1 winner on the Dow, one stop out. And so this is typical. You know, it's the dollar is the reserve currency still, despite the Chinese yuan still gaining more power. The dollar is still the main reserve currency of the trading world. So on a day like today, we've got a Fed rate decision in 35 minutes. It stands to reason that this is going to be quite volatile. Is that question aimed at this chart here, this pound US dollar? Can I start with that? Can it start with the up move of the green candles? Why do you start with the down move? Oh, is that referring to the previous one, the Dow? Right. Okay, let's go back to the Dow. Good question. Like I said, this is a good example of why I trade very, very light on Fed days, because this is typical of a Fed day. Anyways, right, okay. Well, now I understand the question. Right, okay. Because, well, in hindsight, which of course is a great asset on your trading, because the reason why I counted from the high is because that was the main resistance in the chart, and this was the main move that we saw after about an hour, 90 minutes of trading. So it's a really good question. So I'm guessing you are somebody that understands. Maybe you understand it anyways. Anyway, if I was to start way back here in the London Open, then I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So that was 5 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. To be honest, Elliott Wave is not designed for small time frames. Elliott Wave was designed for bigger picture. So you can scale it down to small time frames, but the primary reason for using it, or where Elliott Wave came from, analysing bigger timescales, particularly daily charts. So it's not a good practice to use it on a small time frame anyway, but it is a general guide. It's a general guide as to what you're experiencing in a room. Okay, so any other questions? Let's have a quick look at oil. Wednesdays at 3:30 UK time is inventories, so that's why you tend to get a lot of volatility around the inventories period. And so this has moved. Well, it's not actually. This is not that volatile. This has only moved 80 pips, which is quite tame for oil. So if you look, a couple of things you can do. If you look at this website, if you look at scalperschool.co.uk, one thing I've just started doing is I've just posted, I did have a blog on here, but I've just put the a screenshot of my account. So on this day I did 495. I do trade Forex, but not particularly big scale. I don't day trade it. So here, what was the 30th? Yesterday I did 495 on the Dow. The Dow didn't move that much. This is pretty tame stuff, really. 239 is soybeans. So again, just took a scalp on soybeans. I did take a bigger move on soybeans today. 614. This one's not showing. I think that's quite a big one. I have to sort that chart out. But I've just started putting the my screenshots of my account. Now the actual program for Scalper School, it's a 4-hour intensive program. We go through the whole system, including the golden anchor and gap strategies. We have 3 gap strategies which are, on most weeks, have a major role on our trading, have a major steer on whether we're bullish or bearish on our charts. The chart system, and then we go through the whole Scalper School entry. So on the actual open range, when we get an open range in the morning in the DAX or in the Dow in the afternoon, we have a very, very specific entry in that range. So we're not, I mean, if you take breaks one way or the other, you've got to have a stop the other side of the range. So if you've got a 50 pip range, or even the Dow, it can quite often be much more than 50 pips for an open range. So if you're trading breaks of the range, you need a 50, 60, 70 pip stop to keep you in that trade. So that's why we have a very specific method of entering a range trade, which is just one of the many aspects of the Scalper School system. So we have live trading, we have a breakout strategy, and of course you get the set of rules. Once you've done that, the main element of the program is the live trading room, because once you've done the program, that gets you straight into the live trading room for a month for 6 sessions a week. So it's 6 times 4, so you get 24 sessions of anything from 60 to 90 minutes there. So that's a heck of a lot of resources, and for all those, for the program and all that resource, it's 575, including 1 month in the room. The next program is on the 10th of August, and then there's one on the 24th. These are Saturdays. How much money can a regular trader make a week? We have a lot of people in the trading room who have sort of £500 accounts. If they are trading £2 a point, they should be aiming to make about £1,000 a month. Between £800 and £1,000 a month on a £500 account, because the system is, on average, it's about 60 to 80% successful. Like I said, some days I quite regularly have 3 or 4 days without stop out. Today I've had 4 trades and only 1 stop out. That's all. It's all recorded. Everything's recorded. The program's recorded for your reviewing. The sessions are recorded, so you can go over the entries again. And we also have a Monday night scan and Q&A session. So every Monday night at 6 o'clock, I open the room up again and I go through the preparation for the week. We look at the gap strategies. We look at the relationship of the markets with the price that we saw on the Friday evening close, and the potential for that to have on the market for the rest of the week. Okay. Now, how much leverage? Well, the leverage is in relation to the size of your personal account. So I don't risk any more than, well, I risk about a quarter or half of 1% of my main account. I mean, what I tend to do is I tend to trade small scale initially in the morning, and then I use a lot more leverage on the Dow than I do on the DAX. Why do I do that? Because I find the Dow gives bigger moves and is more technical. So most people in the room are probably trading around anything from £1 to £5 a point. Most people in the room. So it varies. So the amount of leverage people are using. Our stops tend to be, on the DAX, our stops tend to be about, our standard stop is 15 pips. On the Dow, you tend to need a good 25, at least 25 pips. You could, if you come on the program, well, the programming gives you 1 month access to the room anyway. So if you come on the program, that includes your first month. And then what you should be doing is making profits in that period to support the fee for the following months. But if you wanted, I mean, some people, I find on average 1 in 5 people don't come in the room, and the reason why they don't come in the room is because they're happy with the system. They use the system, they go away and trade it, and I've had some feedback from several people who have either only come in the room for a short period or not come in the room at all, and on getting some feedback from these people, they don't tend to come in the room because they're happy on their own. They're happy trading the system and running it, applying it, and so on. There's some, I must update this. These are comments from, we always do a survey straight after the program, and during the first couple of months of the people in the room. And so this is quite old now, I need to update that. There's more information on the site about the fact we only have small groups. It's short focused lessons and live trading, and it's all rules based. Yes, you would. The program gives you everything you need, absolutely everything for you to keep. So you're taught the ABC of the whole system. You are then given the check sheets and the rule sheets for that system, and then not only will you get simulated trading experience on that program, but of course you get the 4 weeks, 24 sessions of the room, showing you how that system works. Just bear with me 1 minute, hang on. Sorry about that. So everything's included. Everything you need is on the program, and not only that, you get the Monday night support session, which is a minimum of an hour. So you get a chance to, it's a Q&A session as well as a scan session. And you get copies of the daily sessions, and then you get the alert room as well. So there's a lot of resources. I put a lot of resources into this. So even if perhaps there's one day or a few days where you can't be in the room, you'll still get alerts for possible trades. So, that's why we've got people in the room who, I mean, some members have been in the trading room for 3-4 plus years. So they like trading in the with people trading the same system. They don't want to trade on their own, and therefore they really enjoy trading together with the other members. I do look at, so I constantly do updates on gold and silver. I do updates during the week on oil, and I give alerts on oil as well. But the main focus of the room is the DAX and the Dow. I do keep an eye. I've got somebody in the room who does like the FTSE. I personally don't trade the FTSE very often, but I do keep an eye on the FTSE because there are people in the room who like to trade that. So if you would like to sign up, then let me just give you the link in the room for this. If you have any questions or want to talk to me, then drop me an email from the contact page on the website, or there's a WhatsApp link as well. The contact page, let's talk. There's a WhatsApp link or you can drop me an email. By all means, ask me any questions now or another time for more information. But it's fun. It's something you can use forever and a day. If there are any updates to the system, one other aspect of it is if you want to do a retake, once you've been on the system, you can do as many retakes as you like in the first 6 months. So if you want, you could do the program 6 times over. And if there are any updates, I invite all graduates back to a retake if there are updates. There are very rarely any updates, but if there are any, then I will happily let everybody back into the program again, or invite them for a Monday scan session and go through it with you then. Well, thanks a lot for joining me. Any further questions? So, there's some really good questions tonight, so thanks a lot for that. But you've seen. All right, let's have a look at. This is oil. So this is not. There are a couple of trades in there, not particularly tradable. Yes, if you want to do the program quicker, what you can do is, if you want to come on the program but you can't do Saturdays, or you want to do getting into the trading room quicker, you can purchase the program and view the last program. So you could just sit there and go through it in your own time. You could do it an hour time, or you could do a whole 4-hour thing. You can get access to the previous program and just go through the whole thing without waiting for the 10th of August, if that helps anybody. I do have more and more people doing that. I'm very happy to let anybody see the last program if you want to accelerate and get on, get into the trading room next week. That's an option. Okay. Last call for questions. Okay. Well, I'll keep posting my trades. I'll keep posting my account. So, like I said, drop me a line. I will be running another free event next Wednesday with a completely different aspect of scalping. Some of the reviews, yeah, the reviews. Well, I've got a few basic. I'll put some new. If you want to see some more reviews, I'll put some. I'll update these. These are a few months old. These go back to March. I completely forgotten to update them. This is copied and pasted straight out of SurveyMonkey. There's no that's word for word what these people have said. Okay. If you want to talk to members, I could put you in. Ask if a couple of members. In the past, I've put people who are interested in contact with existing members, so you can ask them what the room's like, what the program's like, what the room's like. I can try and set that up. Right. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll close it there. I will post this up on the meetup room so you can go over this again. Drop me a line or contact me if you would like to ask any questions, and sign up, join in, because the group's really good. We've got some good members. It's very active through every trading day. There's lots of opportunities to trade. The various markets I've talked about. The only thing we don't really touch is Forex. Thanks a lot. and I hope to see some of you in the program and get you in the trading room. Enjoy your evening, and bye for now.